That's why we need to do something, because it's sacred. Our lands are sacred. Our connection to those lands are sacred. It's intimate. When something's going to mess with that, and I tell you, that something is huge, almost 2 million barrels a day. And we know how big a barrel is. It takes 3.5 barrels of water to make one barrel of oil. It takes 2 tons of earth to make one barrel of oil. You times 2 million barrels a day, times that by 100, it's $200 million a day what they're getting out of this tar sands. That's what we're up against. And I've been sharing this message for a long time. And I'm glad our relative brought it up and said, we're doing it for our kids. I told you, when something's certain my kids, I'm going to try to do something about it. When something's affecting our land, I'm going to do something about it. But I'm not just doing it for my kids. We are doing it for our future generations, like our elder was saying. But you know, Keystone, Kinder Morgan, Enbridge, geez, they're so entrenched in that greed of $200 million a day that they don't even see that the destruction that they're causing, that my friend Bill McGibbon was saying that 1/5 of the wheat in the world is gone. They couldn't grow because of global warming. Already at this time today, we have 30,000 people that are dying of starvation a day. What is that going to turn into? The change in the water temperature and then how much higher the tide is getting. Look what happened in New York. Things are changing, and we can't put a price on sacred. But Kinder Morgan and those companies, they're too blind to see that we're trying to do it for them too. They're a human being. I know in this beautiful holy home here that we pray for people like that too. Who am I? I'm stuck in some of my own dysfunctions, but they can't see that it's greed. And it's affecting our world. It's important that we come by and we stop and say we're going to stop it because of the connection that we have. But we could share that with everybody because it's raising the temperature of our earth. It's the biggest industrial project in the world. The earth that they want to move is the same size of France. They're picking up France and they're moving it for greed. It's the highest concentration rate of cancer in the Luba concrete. When my community came together like this, and we said, should we negotiate or should we oppose it? And I spoke and I was trying to encourage, and like I'm doing here today, that we should do something about it. The elder stood up and he said, you know what? When it's our relatives over there that are dying in Alberta, that's reason enough for us to say no. Let's vote right now, he said. Let's say, and everybody voted no. So I believe in what we're doing here today. I thank you for calling my relatives from the Casey, because we have to do it together. It's not a First Nation and an environmental problem. It's all of our problem. We need our partnerships to continue to grow. We need them to grow. And you know, one thing that I'd like to end with is there are alternatives. $1.6 billion a year subsidies our Canadian government has given out of our national debt to fossil fuel companies to help them to continue to give us destruction to our earth. If we took that money and directed it towards green energy, that would be a wise choice. And that's where we have to hold our political leaders accountable. We have to let them know that there are alternatives and not to take a second seat and put our sacred lands second to greed. We have to change that, and we have to change that with the government. And I know this work has been done before, and I think it's going to happen the same way. Back in the 60s and 70s, the civil rights movement, the whole nation of people stood up and wanted to change better, to help human beings to have a better life and not be oppressed by another human being. But in a weird way, it's ourselves that are oppressing ourselves, and it's the choices that we make that have to be better to create those changes, and then teach other people how to do that. And I believe in that too, that you know, sometimes Sven and I talk and we say no more rallies, no more protests, because we believe in the message that we're giving out, that these are hard and cruel facts. Like the citizens of Canada, if they heard this, they'd want to make better choices too. They'd want to make better choices for our future. If we were the owners of those companies, what kind of choices would we be making? So just like in the 60s and 70s, I think our nation has to stand up. And we have to make choices. But instead of saving people from being oppressed by another people, we're saving ourselves. We're saving ourselves. And it's so important, you know, to Tsleil-Waututh Nation for about 5 years now. We chose, even before we got involved in this, we chose and we invested into wind turbines. We invested in wind turbines, and one thing we believe, solar panels, geothermal energy, there's a lot of good resources out there. What's crazy about it is I met an author who wrote a book about green energy, and he said if every building in the city of Los Angeles had solar panels on the roofs, that's enough energy to harness and serve out to the rest of the United States. But here we are, moving Earth the size of France. #1 exporter to the United States, this oil. And geez, I usually don't get political, but I'm sure happy Obama got in last night. Really happy. Yeah. But I just wanted to say thank you for coming out. Really thank you for coming out. And what I encourage you to do is write your MPs, your MLAs, and write them and talk to them and tell people. Grab some of the information in the back. Read it. Look on internet. And look on what if you have questions about it, it's there. It's at your fingertips. And tell people. Tell people and tell people. Everybody here, tell 20 people. Tell 20 people. And you know, the more we go speak and do different things, then, you know, in a couple of months from now we come back, we're going to need a bigger place. Because we have to do this for everybody. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.